Hi, crafters, and welcome. Today is Sunday, December 21st, and it is my parents' 62nd anniversary. So, even though they don't watch this station, happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. All right, let's go ahead and make a card here. I think what I'm going to do, we're using this Nature Symphony bundle, remember? It has 7 stamps and 7 dies. Now, I was really kind of heavy on the dies for my examples, so I think we're going to focus maybe on the stamps. So like I said, I have this piece. This is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, just your regular card base. I think I want to grab, let me grab a piece of this two-tone cardstock. Sorry, lost my words there. Two-tone cardstock, and I'm going to cut this at 1 1/2. So I'm just over here on the side, cutting 1 1/2. So this is 1 1/2 by 5 1/2. I have some black scritchies left from yesterday. All right. And I think that I want to use this background stamp in very light colors, just to make a little interest on the back of this cardstock. So I'm going to grab from my side table here, side counter, I'm going to grab our in colors that will be retiring at the end of April 2026. So we have Pretty in Pink, we have Summer Splash, Peach Pie, Shy Shamrock, and Petunia Pop. Now these are all softer, so I think I'll probably be using these, and I'll probably use this for my leaves. So let's go ahead, and we'll just going to go ahead and open these up. Goodness. All right. So, and I'm going to get out to my chamois. That's not my chamois, my cloth, whatever it is. The cloth that came with my glass mat. All right. So let's go ahead. I think this is clean, but I'm going to make sure just in case. All right. So let's go ahead into this Peach Pie, and let's just put a little bit of a background. I'm not really pushing that hard into the pad. I do have chamois too. It seems like though I've been using the cloth a lot more lately. All right, so there's the Peach Pie. Let's go into, I think this is pretty dark. Oh, it's not that bad. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get a little more interest that way. Now, a lot of this will be covered up. We're just getting a little bit of that background look. Okay, there's that. Wipe this off. And let's go to our Pretty in Pink. This was an in color, or it was in our color line a while back, and it was brought back as an in color. Don't know if that means that it has a life after it retires, because if you've been with Stampin' Up! For a while, you know that about every 3 to 5 years, probably more like 5, they have a color refresh. So I'm not sure if that's coming up again. All right, we'll go ahead and leave that like that. So there's our background. Now I am going to take that Shy Shamrock. Let me see, do I have a piece of white in here? No, I don't. I really think I want to use white since this card base is white. So I'm going to go over here to my scraps and see if I can find a piece of white over here. All right, here we go. Here's another piece of white. Because we're going to take this large leaf that can get cut out. Let's just go ahead. I probably should have done this upside down because it's a big stamp and there's a lot of stamping surface here. Or use a stamping platform like the retired Stamparatus or whatever you might have on hand. So it is kind of a little flaky there. I'll leave it because this isn't really solid lines either. These are kind of what I call scritchy lines. So I think we'll be okay. I'll probably end up going like this. So let's go ahead and cut this out. Bring over my Stampin' Cut Emboss machine. And we'll get out that die. So remember we had the 7 dies. Oops, sorry. So let's go ahead and I'm going to grab some of my tape to tape down. So I get this centered the way I want to. Alright, so I'm looking at that top leaf, making sure it's in, and making sure that's in, and making sure that this leaf, this stem is in. Now you see how this is a little off there. So I'm looking at all my leaves around the perimeter. It looks like my stem is still okay. Again, just making sure it all looks lined up on those outer leaves. Adding just a little more on there so it won't move when it goes through the Stampin' Cut Emboss machine. Let's go ahead, peel that away. Put that over here for now. That looks pretty good. See, now this is really, because these are all perfectly lined over here, so it makes me think that I might have been just a little bit off on this side, but it's good enough for this card. So let me put this back on my side counter. Oh, shoot, I wanted to do one more thing. You know, I'll just use the baby for this because I'm going to be putting this here. I wanted to do a little bit of the dots on that side. So let me just, instead of bringing the big one back over, I have the baby right here. I call it the baby, it's the mini, it's whatever you want to call it. All right, so let me get so that's just going to take out some little polka dots. Let me put that behind. Sometimes it helps to go from the back side, because that's usually where that little piece of cardstock is just hanging on for life. And then I didn't use the little scritchy one. I do want to use this at some point, but I don't think I want to use it at the same time. I think I just want to leave that little on the side. Okay, I can put away the mini cut and bust machine. So that's going to be fun with just a little bit of extra color there. I think I'll go probably just right at the halfway mark. Put this here. I'm going to pop that up though, and I'm going to put my little saying there. And I think I'm going to put just a simple thank you. This is so new that it still is pretty hard for me to open, especially when I don't have any nails. So just going to kind of leave it there. This is a very thin word, so I don't want to press too hard. All right, so let's go ahead. Let me grab out, I think this is the one that's working. I have one that's caught. Now I'm not putting any over those dots because that adhesive will come through. Make sure it's lined up. I'll press it down. We are going to trim a little bit off there because there is just a little bit left over. So I'm going to take my snips, even though we don't carry them anymore. You always need a pair of scissors on your desk. Okay, so let's do that there, and let's go ahead and pop this up. We have the minis and the regular ones. I'm just going to have a few spaces where I can put the regular. Put one right there. Put one right there. I think I can get one in right there. No, so there's one there and one right there. That one barely fits. And I'll do minis on the rest. I only have a, oh, looks like I don't even have any minis left. I only have the strips. Let me grab these back because these are my, see how it says glue. So these I'll use on these little sticky areas, but I do have two pairs, one that's just for cardstock and one that's just for ribbon. I'm just cutting that border of the dimensionals. And then a couple little ones up here and we'll be done. Let me see. Oh, that is my silver pair. I have a silver and a black pair. Well, I have more than just that, but the ones that I keep out on my desk are a silver and a black pair. And usually my silver pair is used with dimensionals, and my black pair is used more like with when I like glue layers and that. I mean, I will use this for both, but try to keep it a little separated. All right, I think there's a couple on this stem, and I think we're done. Because you really want to support this. There are so many little angles. This last one we're going to put right here. All right, go right over that. So that one's all used up. I'll have to get another one ready. Oops, sorry, that was loud. So there is our card for today. You know, I think we'll just put a few of these iridescent foil gems. These are in the annual catalog. I marked my annual catalog in green labels, so I know that they're year round, and that's probably something I'll have to do today. Probably have to go through the online exclusives and see which of my embellishments have been retired. All right, so there we go. Here's our card for today. Let's go ahead and show you. My mat needs cleaning. Look at that. Here, let me go ahead with my alcohol really quick. And I think I have a paper towel over here. Get some of that cleaned off. I do have some gunk down here though too. The only reason I'm doing this is because if there's adhesive or stuff like that down on here and you've had ink down here like I have, that ink will catch, and then you're going to lay your card down and possibly get ink spots on your card that you've just completed. So there's that one. All right, so here's this one. I did a bunch of these die cuts and did them in the 4 corners method. I have a lot of different examples of 4 corners on here, but that's where you take a piece of cardstock. Let me just grab any over here. Take a piece of cardstock and you put stuff in like a T or a cross fashion, and then you cut down. Now you can leave this 8.5 by 11 and then just do it in half and trim from there. I usually will take it down to 10 by 7.5. That way I'm already down to my 3 3/4 by 5 layer when I cut it in half. So instead of stamping that way, I took the leaves and put them in that cross shape and then cut them down. I think this one needs some embellishments too. And for this, I think let's use the Charming Shimmer Faceted Dots. these are an online, so I'll have to check to see if they're still available. But I do like these, even though this isn't a green. I think there's enough sparkle and dimension that it'll forgive not being a true color to the elements I have on the card. All right, so there's that one. Here's another one, but this one I ran through the exposed brick. I laid them down and then I put it through the exposed brick embossing, 3D embossing folder. Did that cutout, that die cut that actually cuts out and adds all those little texture points in there. And then took one of those sayings and put that across. I also took a finger dauber and ran some extra ink, different greens, across that embossing folder to kind of bring up some of that texture. All right, there you are, guys. Go ahead and give me that thumbs up if you liked today's video. Share with your friends or on your social media. If you have a friend who likes doing more simple cards, send them over to my website and have them subscribe. Most of all, have a great Sunday. Once again, happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. Love you lots. We'll talk to you later. But for now, bye. Bye for now.